all United Rugby Championship games live and on demand across all devices on urc.tv.
Just simply heroic.
Choose from a great value 12-month all-access pass or a match pass. Search urc.tv and subscribe now.
Good evening and welcome to RTÉ Six One.
The headlines this evening. Dozens more tents pitched along the Grand Canal in Dublin. The Taoiseach says further accommodation options for asylum seekers will become available.
A lot of that may look like tents with sanitation on public sites, but a more safe environment from both a public health point of view and from a legal point of view.
Israeli troops capture main road around Rafah in the battle against Hamas in southern Gaza.
Ukraine says it repelled a fresh Russian ground offensive, but fierce fighting rages around the border region of Kharkiv.
And in London, a man is to be detained indefinitely for killing elderly Irishman Thomas O'Halloran.
More barriers have been erected along the Grand Canal in Dublin this evening to prevent further encampments by migrants there. The Taoiseach has said that he expects more accommodation solutions for asylum seekers to come on stream and has insisted that a repeat of the situation on Mount Street, where people remained in tents for months, cannot be allowed to happen. His comments come as at least 30 tents were put up along the banks of the Grand Canal overnight.
But they have been playing a blinder all week, and we've just loved it. And it's just a great event. Like, it's a song contest, but it's more than that. It's a chance for grown men to wear thongs pointlessly on a stage, and a chance for a man who, the other night, who I thought was terrific, was playing the organ dressed as a duck. You tell me where you're going to find that sort of high-end entertainment. Lyric FM, perhaps, but I don't know where else.
Marty Whelan talking to Evelyn O'Rourke. Now, still to come on 6-1, calls for the GAA to appear before the Oireachtas to justify putting hurling behind a paywall. We'll hear from Senator Tim Lombard.
And the Northern Lights are expected to be visible from Ireland tonight as a severe solar storm is to hit Earth.
Watch all United Rugby Championship games live and on demand across all devices on urc.tv.
Just simply heroic.
Choose from a great value 12-month all-access pass or a match pass. Search urc.tv and subscribe now.
You're welcome back. The main news this evening. The Taoiseach has said that he expects more accommodation solutions to come on stream for people seeking international protection. That may involve the use of tents with sanitary facilities on public sites. His comments come as at least 30 tents were put up along the banks of the Grand Canal less than a day after a similar encampment was removed by the authorities. Humanitarian agencies have warned that aid for Gaza could grind to a halt within days as Israeli troops take their ground war with Hamas into Rafah. Meanwhile, the United Nations General Assembly has supported a bid to allow Palestine to become a full member and has recommended that the UN Security Council reconsider the matter favourably. In Ukraine, Russian forces have launched a new ground offensive in the northeast of the country, forcing Kyiv to send reinforcements. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said there was a fierce battle raging in the Kharkiv region, just across the border with Russia.
Another year, another row over which GAA games are shown free on television and which are only available behind a paywall on GAA Go. Particularly aggrieved are fans of Munster hurling, one of whom Fine Gael Senator Tim Lombard joins us now from our Cork studio. Good evening, Senator. Thanks indeed for joining us on 6-1. We saw Marty Morrissey's report earlier. Basically, for viewers who may not have been following this too much, fans are aggrieved because Cork against Limerick tomorrow isn't on RTÉ.
I think it's a bigger issue than that, David. I think it's trying to make sure that we get the majority, if not all, of our nationals games like GA and on the actual national provider itself. Look, for the last 2 weekends, last weekend and this weekend, there's no hurling match at all on either Leinster or Munster. And I think we need to find a more suitable platform that actually works.
Okay, but sorry to cut across you, but my understanding of the arrangement or the deal that RTÉ has with the GAA is that RTÉ gets 2 games to put on TV each weekend. And this weekend and last weekend, as you say, there's no hurling because there's 2 provincial finals on each weekend.
Yeah, and if you look what's happening in the Munster Championship in particular, the majority of games from the
City grids.
Yeah, absolutely. These are producing huge electrical currents in our atmosphere, and so they can knock out GPS systems, they can cause problems with communication. So the past week, there's been a lot of high-frequency communications that have dropped out just because of solar storms. They're not big enough to affect the power grid, these ones in particular, but they have, over the past 100 years, produced effects on the power grid and brought them down in the worst-case scenario, but not for these ones this weekend.
All right, really interesting. Professor Peter Gallagher, thank you so much for coming in to speak to us this evening.
Now, still to come this evening, turning the tide on Donegal's loss of biodiversity. A new project in Glenveigh National Park is set to restore hundreds of hectares of native woodland.
And in Friday evening sports news, Sarah Lavin records a solid season opening run in Doha. And all eyes on Tallaght Stadium, where Shamrock Rovers are about to host St. Pat's.
You're welcome back. The main news this evening. More barriers have been erected along the Grand Canal in Dublin this evening to prevent further encampments by migrants there. The Taoiseach has said that he expects more accommodation solutions for asylum seekers to come on stream and has insisted that a repeat of the situation on Mount Street cannot be allowed to happen. Humanitarian agencies have warned that aid for Gaza could grind to a halt within days as Israeli troops take their ground war with Hamas into Rafah. Israeli tanks have reportedly captured a main road encircling the eastern part of the city, where more than 1 million people are sheltering.
Native woodlands once covered 80% of Ireland, but today that figure is down to a little over 1%.
Being as well. A walk in the woods is good for us. Research shows.
Biodiversity is an urgent problem that needs long-term thinking. Hopefully this project will mean that future generations can enjoy this valley as native woodland, as it was for most of history. Coleman O'Sullivan, RTÉ News, at Glenveigh in County Donegal.
Time for sport now. Here's Eamon.
Thanks, Sharon. Good evening to you. Well, it's a busy night in the League of Ireland Premier Division. Shelburne will be looking to extend their lead at the top. Damien Duff's side take on Drogheda United. Shamrock Rovers have home advantage for their game against St. Pat's. An opportunity, of course, for Rovers to return to winning ways. For more on this, let's go live to Tallaght and to Valerie Wheeler, who's standing by. Good evening to you, Valerie. An important night ahead for the Hoops.
Yeah, an extremely important night. I am here with Conan Byrne, of course, to take a look at tonight's game. Conan, lots of talking points for tonight's game, but the biggest one, of course, is that Pat's manager, John Daly, was relieved of his duties during the week. I mean, was this expected?
Yeah, I suppose over the last number of weeks, Pats haven't been in great form, and Monday's performance was really unacceptable. 1-0 defeat down in the showgrounds, but it was the performance of the team that was very disappointing, and some of the players as well. I think they've let down their manager, and unfortunately he paid the price for it. And it's going to be a very interesting game this evening, Valerie, and who's going to pick up the 3 points.
Plenty of names in the running for this new job. Stephen Kenny is one of them. I mean, could you see him stepping in and taking this gig?
Wishful thinking, I'm sure, for St. Pat's fans. What a name to have, what a character. 5 league titles over the course of his managerial career in the League of Ireland. So a great name to have in the dugout for St. Pat's, but I think it's a long way away from that happening at this moment in time. There's other names in the pipeline. Ian Barraclough as well, former Northern Ireland manager, knows the league very well, title winning manager at Sligo Rovers. So yeah, there's a couple of names in the hat, but apart from those two, could be anybody.
Both games, obviously both teams are looking to bounce back as well. Who can you see actually doing it tonight?
Well, they both have to bounce back, as you said. Like, obviously St. Pat's now with the bounce back now of the new management team that are in charge for this evening, and they're going to want to put on a performance for their manager against their rival club up in Tallaght. But Shamrock Rovers themselves have to bounce back from a really poor result on Monday night against Waterford, and I can see Shamrock Rovers coming out on top this evening.
A big crowd here tonight, I expect as well. Good atmosphere?
Great atmosphere, really looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Well, we're live on RT2 at 7:35. Please do join us, and it's back to you in studio, Eamon.
Thanks very much, Valerie. Well, Manchester United are facing the prospect of their lowest Premier League finish. Eric Ten Hag, however, doesn't feel the club's new owners will look to replace him during the summer.
No, I think they have common sense. And they see when you have 32 different backlines, when you have 8 centre backs, you use 8 centre backs. If they see we use 13 partnerships in centre halves, when they see when we don't have a left fullback, when we have so many injuries, they know that will have a negative impact on the results.
The new Camogie Championship season was officially launched today. The games will get underway at the weekend of the 25th and 26th of May. Cork will be looking to defend their senior title. They are in a group with the 2021 champions Galway. Waterford, Tipperary and Kilkenny are included in Group 1. Waterford are keen to move on from last year's All-Ireland final defeat.
You just have to forget it now because there's no point living in the past. So we definitely regrouped. We had, I suppose, new management, a lot of new girls back into our panel. So it was brilliant. We really just started from ground level and just being constantly building and working on ourselves.
Yeah, I suppose we take great confidence off our performance last year, but also we want to build on it. I suppose you can never stay on the same level. We want to go to the next level. So that is the main goal, just to build every match and keep learning. I suppose there's only pressure on us if you put pressure on ourselves. So we don't really think about the kind of main goal. We try to take it week by week and just training session to training session and just always learning and trying to be the best team and improving.
The Tailteann Cup gets underway this weekend too. The first game of the new campaign sees Offaly take on London. Offaly are aiming to make their time in the second tier count.
This is the stadium where you want to be playing the games, and you've seen how well it served Westmeath and Meath over the last couple of years, and the celebrations after and the county rallying behind them. So that's where you want to be, and you want to be playing in the Sam Maguire, and if winning the Tailteann's the way to get there, that's what we're happy to do, yeah.
Rory McIlroy is approaching the halfway point of his second round at the Wells Fargo Championship. The world number 2 is now 6 under for the tournament, alone in second place, 1 shot off the lead. Seamus Power is 1 over. Shane Lowry is 4 over. On the LPGA Tour, Leona Maguire has completed her second round at the Founders Cup after 6 under par 65 on day 1. She's dropped back to 2 under in a share of 28th place there.
4 birdies.
Now, it's been a busy evening for several of our high-profile elite athletes. Doha, the latest stop on the Diamond League circuit. Sarah Healy was the first of the Irish athletes in action. She finished just inside the top 10 in the 1500 metres. Andrew Costren clocked a season's best to finish 7th in the 1500 metres as well, while Sarah Lavin in the first race of her season finished 5th in the 100 metres hurdles. Ireland's T20 World Cup preparations continue today with the first one-day international against Pakistan. Clontarf, the venue. Ireland won the toss and elected to bowl first. Pakistan made 182 for 6 from their 20 overs. And in the last few minutes, Ireland have just completed a notable 5-wicket win. Now, Ryan Mullen was one of the first in action in today's stage of the Giro d'Italia. The Irish time trial champion was well back in the overall standings today. He finished in the top 40 in 36th place at the end of today's stage. Tadej Pogačar won the stage. He remains in the overall leaders' pink jersey. And that is your sports news for now.
Thanks very much, Eamon.